Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to take your source material and really plunge into it, not just for the surface facts, but for those deeper insights, the things that really make you feel well-informed. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into something really powerful: confident communication. You know, whether you're presenting in a big meeting, or just sharing an idea, or even connecting better with people you know. This is all about finding practical ways to speak with, well, impact and authenticity. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and we're drawing from a great resource called The Path to Confident Communication, 9 Essential Lessons. It's packed with some really solid wisdom. Our mission here isn't just to list the lessons, though. It's more about distilling them, finding those actionable bits, maybe even some counterintuitive ideas.
Right.
We want to show you not just the what, but the why it works, on that deeper level, and the how you can actually master speaking impactfully no matter your starting point.
Right, so let's jump straight in. Lesson 1, and maybe the toughest for a lot of people, according to the source, is be yourself, the power of authenticity. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But the material really stresses this idea. People connect with real emotion, not some kind of perfect performance, trying to be too polished, too flawless. It's like wearing a mask, right? People might see the mask, but they don't really connect with you.
It really is counterintuitive, isn't it? We think, oh, I need this perfect front. But actually, our brains are, wired to spot fakeness. Imperfection, weirdly enough, often builds trust much faster. Dale Carnegie said it best. Authenticity is the bridge between you and your audience. When you're real, you kind of give permission for others to be real, too. So the big takeaway tip here is pretty simple. Just ask yourself before you talk to someone, what's something real, something relatable I could share? That little mental shift, it's a powerful start.
That's a great point, and it makes me think of that story in the source about Mark, the young teacher. He was prepping for this huge education conference talk, script totally dialed in, practiced like crazy, aiming for perfection. But then, the night before, he just tossed it, got on stage, and basically said, look, I'm not here to impress you, I'm just here to share my story. And he talked from the heart, about his struggles, almost quitting teaching, how one student changed everything for him, standing ovation. So for someone listening who struggles with just being themselves under pressure, what's the real power behind Mark's vulnerability there?
Well, Mark didn't just throw away a script. He threw away the fear of messing up, That vulnerability, it triggers something in us. Mirror neurons, they call them. It lets the audience feel what he's feeling, not just hear his words. That shared experience, recognizing struggle and growth, that's what builds the real connection. And, building on that connection, it leads us right into lesson 2. Know who you're talking to. Equally vital.
Oh, this one definitely resonates. I mean, imagine trying to explain, quantum physics to kindergartners. Or like the example in the source, you craft this amazing speech about gardening, all passionate, but you're giving it to teenagers who just want to talk gaming. The message, however good, just poof, gone, like tuning a radio to the wrong station.
Exactly. Perfect broadcast, wrong frequency, no one hears it.
Yeah.
And the insight here isn't about changing who you are. It's about tailoring the message so it actually lands with them. It's about making it fit their world. Like if you're talking leadership, right, how you explain it to students versus how you explain it to parents. Totally different examples, different focus. It has to be relevant to their lives.
Okay, I get that. Makes total sense. But the challenge, I think, for a lot of listeners is figuring out how to do that. How do you really understand an audience, especially if you haven't met them before?
Yeah, good question. That's where a little prep comes in. The source has this nice mini story about Lisa, a doctor. She used to use all this jargon like cardiovascular in her talks. Then a kid asked what it meant. Total aha moment for her. Now she explains things super simply, like she's talking to a 10-year-old, and apparently everyone gets much more out of it. So the practice is literally write it down. Who are they? What keeps them up at night? What do they actually want from this conversation? When you shape your message around those answers, people feel seen, they feel heard, and that's just fun.
Seen and seen. Yeah, that's huge. And speaking of huge impact, let's move to lesson 3. Use stories to make people feel.
This is where I think the real magic happens in communication. You hear that phrase, facts tell, but stories sell. It's not just catchy, it's true, neurologically speaking. Think of it like this. A fact is maybe a nail, but the story. That's the hammer that drives it home, right into memory and emotion. Absolutely. It's all about that emotional resonance. Tony Robbins nailed it. People aren't influenced by what you say. They're influenced by how they feel about what you say. Stories are how we've learned for forever. They teach without lecturing. They make abstract stuff feel real, memorable. Our brains are just, built for narrative.
Exactly. The source gives this quick example. You could define resilience,
Okay.
or you could tell the story about the woman who failed her driving test 5 times, but she kept at it and finally passed. Which one sticks? Which one do you feel? The story, right. Every time. It's relatable, it's vivid, creates that connection. Which is why that idea of keeping a story bank, just jotting down your own little anecdotes, funny, sad, whatever, is such a great practical tip. You'll have them ready.
Yeah, story bank is brilliant. So we've talked about the message. Let's pivot a bit to delivery. Starting with lesson 4. Practice your secret superpower. It's easy to think confident speakers are just, born that way, like they just have it. But the deeper truth is, confidence isn't usually innate. It's built, brick by brick. And consistent practice, even imperfect practice, is how you build it.
That's really encouraging, especially if public speaking makes you nervous, like me sometimes. The source tells this great story about Tom, terrified of speaking in public, shaky hands, cracked voice, the whole deal. But he had something important to share, so he made a deal with himself, basically. 15 minutes, every single day, just talk in front of a mirror, no scripts, no pressure, just talk. Awkward at first, for sure. But slowly, his voice got stronger, he made eye contact with himself, he started to feel it. And when he finally gave a talk at work, people clapped, some even cried. That's the power of just showing up and practicing consistently.
And it's not just mindless repetition. Brian Tracy had that quote, "Practice doesn't make perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect." Which sounds intimidating, but I think it just means being mindful. Pay attention to your tone. Try pausing differently. Play with how you deliver it. Try talking like you're explaining it to a friend. The tips in the source are really practical. Use that mirror. Record your voice even just on your phone. Time yourself. Practice small chunks. Even just 5 minutes a day, consistently, starts rewiring things for more confidence.
Speaking of how things feel, let's try a little experiment for lesson 5. Your body speaks louder than words. Okay, everyone listen. Cross your arms, teeth, slouch down, look at the floor. Now try saying out loud, "I'm really excited to be here." Feels kind of weird, right? Forced. Okay, now shake it out. Stand tall, shoulders back, maybe a little smile, make eye contact with something in the room. Say it again. "I'm really excited to be here." See? You feel the difference instantly. Your body is talking too.
It absolutely is. People pick up on body language instantly, often before you even say anything. If your body's saying, "I'm nervous," or "I don't want to be here," people feel that, even if your words are confident.
The source mentions a personal story, right? About fidgeting hands, totally undermining the passion in a talk. It's a great reminder to get your body and your message singing the same tune. Congruence.
Yeah, congruence. That's the word.
Okay.
I've definitely caught myself doing little things, fidgeting or whatever, that take away from what I'm trying to say. The body language basics in the material are super helpful. Posture. Imagine that string pulling you up. Eye contact. Scan the room. Connect briefly. Don't stare people down. Hands. Use open gestures. Face. Let it match your words. It's not about being fake or acting. It's just about letting your body support your message naturally.
Exactly. It's unifying the verbal and the nonverbal. I love the analogy they use. If your message is the lyrics, your gestures are the melody. When they match up, people feel the rhythm. They remember it better. It just makes everything land with more impact. That's a fantastic way to think about it. Okay, next segment. Let's dive into lesson 6. Ask questions. Create a conversation, not a monologue. Here's the secret weapon, maybe. The best communicators. They're amazing listeners too. Asking questions immediately pulls people in, makes it feel less like a lecture and more like, well, a dialogue, even if you're doing most of the talking.
And psychologically, it works on a few levels. Questions make people feel included, right? They spark curiosity, they keep the energy up. It shifts the whole dynamic from you talking at them to exploring something with them. Builds that bridge straight into their own thoughts.
I love that. There's a great example in the source. Talking to these quiet high schoolers about motivation. Total cricket. Until the speaker switched gears and just asked, okay, how many of you have ever wanted to give up on something really important? Boom, almost every hand went up. Suddenly they were connected. And from there, the conversation flowed. Their answers actually guided the rest of the talk.
Yeah.
Because they were part of it.
Yeah, and those engagement strategies are gold. Simple yes-no questions for quick buy-in. Open-ended ones to make people think. Always repeat back a good audience answer shows you heard them. And crucially, pause after you ask. Give people space to think. Don't rush it. Even online, right? You can ask, ever felt this way? Let me know in the comments. It still built that connection.
Great tips for keeping people engaged. And speaking of making things stick, let's hit lesson 7. End with impact, leave a lasting message. Think about your favorite movie. You might forget bits in the middle, but a really strong ending. That stays with you. Same thing with communication. That final thought is often what people remember most, what they carry away.
Yeah, a weak ending or just trailing off can kind of undo all the good stuff that came before. The source tells that story about the speaker talking about failure. Great talk, lots of tips. But the part that gave people goosebumps, the part they remembered, was the very end. Something like, "Don't let one no stop you from reaching your yes. You are more capable than you think." Then this powerful pause. Directly, "Go prove it." Silence. Then applause. That's impact.
Wow, yeah, goosebumps. So the strategies for a strong conclusion are vital. Summarize your main point, one strong sentence. Repeat a powerful quote or your core message, maybe like that Denzel Washington line, "Aspire to make a difference." Yeah. Challenge people to do something. And definitely use that pause before the final line.
Right, that pause isn't dead air. It lets the message land. Like planting a seed, as the source says, that can grow later.
Beautifully put. Okay, that leads us right into our final segment, starting with Lesson 8. Boost your presence. Own the space, not just the words. Presence. It's not just volume, is it? It's more like your energy, your confidence, being really there in the moment, how you show up before you even speak.
Exactly. That feeling you get from someone. I love the story of Rita, the accountant. Really smart, knew her stuff, but got kind of lost in meetings. Shy. So they worked on just one thing, owning her space. The task was walk in, take a deep breath, stand tall, make eye contact first, then talk. Her voice didn't really change, but her presence did. People started noticing her more, listening more. It's proof you don't need to be loud to command attention, just grounded.
That's such a powerful idea. Being grounded translates outwards. The tips on how to boost presence are great. Enter calmly, use that power pause before speaking builds anticipation, settles you down, breathe deeply, own the silence, don't feel you have to fill every second.
Yeah, and the analogy is perfect. Presence is like the light around a candle. The flame is your voice, but the glow is your energy. When you learn to manage that glow, that energy, you really can light up a space.
What a fantastic image. Okay, last one, lesson 9. Find your style, be the speaker only you can be. This brings us full circle really back to authenticity. The core idea here is stop trying to be like someone else. Just be more you.
It's about finding your own rhythm, your own way of expressing things. The source shares that personal story, right? Trying to copy other speakers, how they talked, moved, everything. And it just felt wrong. Fake. It wasn't until they just started sharing their own stuff in their own way, at their own pace, that it clicked. People don't want a copy, they want the real deal. And that means your real deal. Your authentic voice is uniquely powerful.
That's such a relief, isn't it? To shift from trying to perform to just being. The advice on finding your style is really practical too. Record yourself just talking. See what feels natural versus forced. Ask people you trust. What do you like about how I communicate? They often see strengths you miss. Experiment, sure, but only keep the stuff that genuinely feels like you. The goal isn't some generic greatness, it's just being authentically you.
Exactly. Because when you stop trying so hard to be someone else and just lean into your own style, your words carry so much more weight. They're not just sounds anymore. They become like a true reflection of you, your unique soul shining through.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've covered a lot ground, those 9 essential lessons from The Path to Confident Communication. We started with connection authenticity, knowing your audience, the power of stories, then building confidence through practice, through body language, and finally engaging people, asking questions, ending strong, boosting your presence, and finding your unique style.
Which really raises an important question, doesn't it? What's one small thing, just one step you can take today or maybe this week to put one of these ideas into action? Your voice really does have power. You were born to use it in your own way. Don't just let these lessons be interesting ideas. Pick one. Maybe it's practicing in the mirror for 5 minutes. Maybe it's thinking of one real story you could share. Just take that one step. Start discovering that confident communicator that's already inside you.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into confident communication. Keep exploring that potential. We'll catch you next time.